Hey everyone, this is Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com, and I'm back here with another hand history review for you guys. So today's hand was sent to me by Vlad. As you can see here, he's playing 1 cent, 2 cent, and he told me this hand was played on Party Poker. If you guys are a regular viewer on my channel here, you know I put out a video a couple weeks back where I talked about how to play against a very loose and aggressive opponent. And in today's hand, that's exactly what's going to happen again. So let's jump right into the action here. So the main villain in this hand, or our main opponent, is going to be villain 5. Vlad didn't give me any HUD stats on this guy, but he basically told me this, quoting from the email here: this guy is a crazy, loose, aggressive player with high betting and raising frequencies. So let's just keep that in mind as we run through this hand, that we're basically looking at a loose and aggressive, I guess we'll call him a regular. Vlad didn't really tell me if this guy is sort of trending more in the maniac fish kind of category, so I'll assume at this point that he's somewhat of just a crazy regular. So villain 1 folds, and it's on Vlad with King 10 offsuit on the button. Now, another thing to note here that hopefully you guys already noticed, because I always say this in every single video, is the first thing you look at before anything else, before player type, anything, of course, is stack size. And as you can see here, like I said, this is 1 cent, 2 cent. Villain 5 has pretty close to a double stack, so he's got 200 big blinds. That's going to be what we call the effective stack size in this hand, because Vlad covers, he has, 350 big blinds. But the effective stack size, or you can call it like the lowest common denominator, would be Villain 5. So 200 big blinds is the effective stack in this hand. So Vlad makes the decision to call here. I think that's okay. I mean, I do definitely want to get involved with a player like this. Definitely if he's on the maniac side, but even against a lot of the lags at the micros, I don't think many of them are very good, so I do like to get involved. But in position, I'll say that I don't mind this call. I'd prefer it to be suited or something. King 10 off is kind of stretching, to be honest, but deep stacked versus a spewy kind of lag player, I don't mind it. I think it's okay. It also depends who's in the blinds. Something, if you guys read my blog articles, my books, or anything, you know that I talk about that a lot, is being aware of who's behind you. You know, if there is a big fish, for instance, in the small blind or the big blind, I will be more likely to get involved here with this with a hand like King 10 off. However, on the flip side, if I notice that in the small blind or the big blind there's an aggressive tag or another aggressive lag who's likely to put in a 3-bet squeeze here, I definitely do not want to be calling in the button here. So now, unfortunately, Vlad didn't give me any information about the blinds in this hand, but I just wanted to make that point clear, that would definitely figure into my decision making in what is kind of a toss-up spot for me with a hand like King 10 off pre-flop here. So both blinds actually do end up just folding, and we go to a flop. So it's obviously a pretty good one there with the top pair, good kicker, second nut kicker. He's also got the backdoor club draw to go with that, which is always something you want to be aware of. So Villain 5 immediately comes out for, I believe that's about 80% of the pot. Because that's what lags do. As Vlad mentioned, this guy likes to bet a lot and raise a lot. So in a situation like this, what should we do? Well, I'm going to say right off the bat here that I think a call is 100% the best play here. I don't really like raising in a spot like this because I don't really want to get into a big re-raise war. I don't want to get a huge bloated pot, especially in a situation like this where the stacks are super deep, and put myself into a lot of bad positions later on. But the other big reason why I really like a call here, I really like to use their aggression against them. That's how you beat an aggressive player, is just allowing them to use the old cliche to hang themselves, essentially. When we put in the raise here, again, like I said, we're kind of just creating this huge kind of messy, kind of bloated pot. Whereas if we just call here, which is, by the way, that's what Vlad does, I think we allow Villain 5 to just continue bluffing on later streets and basically just giving his money away. So I love the way that Vlad is playing this hand so far. So the turn comes with the deuce of clubs, which gives us 4 to the flush, and Villain comes in for another large bet, about 75% pot. So on the turn here, my decision making is basically the exact same thing as the flop. I would rather just call here and let him just keep bluffing at the pot. I don't really want to raise here and create a massive pot with a one pair hand at this point. So I'm totally on board with Vlad's decision once again to just call. So the river comes with the 4 of spades, and of course that does create a one-liner to a straight on the board. Any 5 at this point would have a straight. And let's see what villain 5 does. He does, of course, what lags love to do, which is triple barrel. He comes in for 75% of the pot again. So what should we do in a spot like this? Well, you know, at the risk of sounding like a broken record here, it's just a call for me. There's not really anything else that I'm thinking about in a spot like this. As I've talked about in previous videos against lags, I love to just make wide call downs with a hand like this and basically just let them barrel off with their nonsense. You know, there's so many hands that they're going to show up here with that they're bluffing with, that we are ahead of. Now, of course, from time to time, even lags get aces and kings and ace 10 and stuff that beats us here as well. But that is a small percentage of his range, and so I think that we should definitely just call down here. Now, Vlad decides to make another decision in this hand, and I'm going to say that I don't really like this raise very much here, and there's a couple reasons why. Number one is because I don't think we're ever getting called by worse here, and that's something you really need to be always thinking of if you're raising for value, which I assume we are in a spot like this, is can we ever get called by worse? I don't think so. I'm trying to think of a value hand that we are ahead of, maybe Queen 10, Jack 10, pocket 9s, but I think even player like this, I think unless he's a complete maniac who's like 12 beers in or something, I don't think anyone's ever calling here with worse. So now on the flip side, we don't need to bluff in a spot like this because, like I said, I think that there's a huge amount of hands that he can be value betting or just bluffing here with that we are ahead of. So this is one of those situations where I don't really think that the raise accomplishes much. I think it's something you need to always be considering in poker. You need to always be asking yourself, is your raise for value or is it a bluff? Now, I know that if you guys follow some of the high stakes guys out there on YouTube and in books and courses and stuff, they'll talk about merging your range and turning a hand like this into a bluff, but guys, you don't want to be doing that unless you're playing mid or high stakes. This stuff it's not necessary at low stakes to turn a hand like top pair into a bluff. This is stuff that you really should only be doing against, quite frankly, world-class players at least mid or high-stakes games where players are just thinking on much, much deeper levels. At the micros, really, when you're putting in a raise like this, it should be clearly defined, in my opinion, as either for value or as a bluff. And I really don't think I really don't know where this bet stands here. So I'm going to say that I'm not really a huge fan of this raise here. It does get through in this spot, but once again, I just don't think it accomplishes much of anything for us because I don't think we ever get called by worse, and quite frankly, we just don't need to bluff. So I hope that explanation was useful for you guys, and for you as well, Vlad. Thank you very much, by the way, for sending me this hand. But as always, I want to know what you guys think about this hand, so make sure to let me know in the comments below. How would you have played this hand? Would you have made any different decisions pre-flop, flop, turn, river? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you guys enjoy seeing microstakes hand history reviews like this, I put them out roughly every single week. Make sure you give this video a like, and also make sure that you subscribe to my channel here, because like I said, I'm putting out these videos all the time. You know, we're starting off 2019 here, and I want to help you guys start crushing at the lower stakes here. So, and speaking of that, lastly, make sure you download a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. It's called Massive Profit at the Micros. It's a free little 50-page guide that'll teach you my entire strategy on how I beat these stakes. Top link in the description below. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.